Hey families, just wanted to get in touch. Day 2. I know it's St. Patrick's Day, so happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope you had a chance to do something fun today. I've got my green on so I won't get pinched. And I left all my St. Patrick's Day books at the classroom, so I wasn't able to go back and get them. But I do have this book to read to you tonight, and it's one of my very favorites. It's by the author Tommy DePaola, and the name of the story is Strega Nona. In a town in Calabria, a long time ago, there lived an old lady everyone called Strega Nona, which means Grandma Witch. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her if they had trouble. Even the priest and the sisters at the convent went, because Strega Nona had a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oil and water and a hairpin. She made special potions for the girls who wanted husbands, and she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Strega Nona was getting old and she needed some help to keep her little house and garden. So she put up a sign in the town square. Big Anthony, who didn't pay much attention, went to go see her. Anthony said, Strega Nona, you must sweep the house and wash the dishes, weed the garden and pick the vegetables, and for this I will give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat. The one thing you must never do is touch the pasta pot. It is very valuable. Yes, said Big Anthony. And so the days went by and Anthony did his work. When people came to see, while Strega Nona met with people who came to see her for headaches and husbands and warts, Big Anthony had a nice bed to sleep in the goat shed, and he had food to eat. One evening, Big Anthony was milking the goat, and he heard Strega Nona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Strega Nona standing over the pasta pot. She sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up." And she sang and it bubbled and boiled. And then she sang again, "Enough, enough, my pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot, so simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." How wonderful, said Big Anthony. That's a magic pot for sure. And Strega Nona called Big Anthony in for supper. But too bad for Big Anthony, because he didn't see Strega Nona blowing 3 kisses to the pot. And this is what happened. The next day, when Big Anthony went into the town square, he told everyone about the pasta pot. Naturally, everyone laughed at him because it sounded so silly. A pot that cooked all by itself? "You'd better go and confess to the priest, Big Anthony," they said. Such a lie. And Big Anthony was angry that wasn't a very good thing to be. "I'll show them," he said to himself. "Someday I will get the pasta pot and make it cook." That day came sooner than even Big Anthony would have thought, because 2 days later, Strega Nona said to Big Anthony, "I must go over the mountain to see my friend Strega Amelia. Sweep the house and weed the garden. And don't touch the pasta pot." "Oh, yes, Strega Nona," said Big Anthony. But inside he was thinking, this is my chance. So as soon as Strega Nona was out of sight, Big Anthony went inside, pulled the pasta pot off the shelf and put it on the floor. Now let's see if I can remember these words. "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. So boil enough pasta to fill me up." And sure enough, the pasta pot bubbled and boiled and began to fill up with pasta. "Aha," said Big Anthony, and he ran to the town square, jumped on the fountain, and shouted, "Everyone get forks and platters and bowls. Pasta for all at Strega Nona's house." Of course, everyone laughed, but they ran home to get their forks and platters and bowls. And sure enough, when they got to Strega Nona's, the pasta pot was so full, it was beginning to overflow. Big Anthony was a hero. He scooped out the pasta and filled up the plates. There was more than enough for all the townspeople, including the priest and the sisters. And some people came back for 2 and 3 helpings. But the pasta pot was never empty. When everyone had had their fill, Big Anthony sang, "Enough, enough, my pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot, so simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." But he did not blow 3 kisses. He went outside to the applause of the crowd. Big Anthony took a bow. He was so busy listening to the compliments from everyone, he didn't even notice that the pasta pot was still bubbling. And it was pouring out of the pot all over the floor of Strega Nona's house. And it was even coming out the door. Big Anthony rushed in and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept bubbling. He took the pot off the floor, but the pasta kept on pouring. Big Anthony grabbed a cover and put it on the pot and sat on it. But the pasta raised the cover, and Big Anthony as well, and spilled on the floor of Strega Nona's house. "Stop!" yelled Big Anthony. But the pasta did not stop. And if someone hadn't grabbed poor Big Anthony, the pasta would have covered him up. The pasta had all but filled the little house. Out of the windows and through the doors came the pasta, and the pot kept right on bubbling. The townspeople began to worry. "Do something, Big Anthony," they shouted. And Big Anthony sang the magic song again, but without the 3 kisses, it didn't do any good. This time the pasta was all the way down the road, and all the people were running to keep ahead of it. "We must protect our town from the pasta," shouted the mayor. "Get mattresses, tables, doors, anything to make a barricade." But even that didn't work. The pot kept bubbling and the pasta kept coming. "We're lost," said the people. And the priest and the sisters of the convent began to pray. "The pasta will cover our town," they cried. And certainly it would have, had Strega Nona not come down the road, home from her visit. She didn't have to look twice to know what happened. She sang the magic song and blew 3 kisses. With a sputter, the pot stopped boiling and the pasta came to a halt. "Oh, grazia, thank you, Strega Nona," the people cried. But then they turned on big poor Anthony. "String him up," the men of the town shouted. "Now wait," said Strega Nona, "and the punishment must fit the crime." So she took a fork from a lady standing nearby and held it out to Big Anthony. "All right, Anthony, you wanted pasta from my magic pot," Strega Nona said, "and I want to sleep in my little bed tonight. So start eating." And he did. Poor Big Anthony. All right, guys, thanks for listening again tonight. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to try to post this one to YouTube so you can hear the whole thing. I didn't realize last night that our dojo has a limit. It has about an 8-minute time limit. So hopefully you guys will get a link tonight and you'll be able to hear the rest of the story for the days to come. Thanks so much. Have a good evening.